you go to the gym, you take care of yourself and what you eat. How many of you are fat slobs?
Okay, are we going to extend this to women as well? I mean, I go to the gym. This isn't targeted at me. I think it's funny. But, I mean, are we going to hold women to the same standard? Do you go to the gym? And if you do go to the gym, are you actually putting in any effort? Right? Like, this is the thing, guys, is men are expected to go to the gym. They're expected to make money, you know, be a good man, morals and all of that. And in return, you get a woman who provides nothing. She doesn't hit the gym. You know, she's not interested in providing financially. She's just there because she's the table. But you, sir, you have to go to the gym. You have to make sure your body fat percentage is in check, or she's not interested in you. Like, you... Yeah, okay, man. Okay.
Any of those, you're not an option. How many of you guys jack off to porn? Women don't like that, so we're not gonna be cool with that. So you're not an option either. How many of you live at home with your mommy, or you have an extremely unhealthy relationship with your mommy, where she tells you what to do, she wipes your nose and wipes your tears, cooks for you, cleans for you. You don't know how to do anything for yourself because you're a giant child.
Trying my patience.
It is so interesting to me that the person who is a giant child is getting on the internet and calling people giant children. Just by the way, guys, right? This is not an effective advertisement, shall I say, to get men to try and date you. So let's just assume this is true, right? Let's just assume that no men are hitting the gym. They're all looking at women online, not interacting with real ones. Okay, let's assume this woman's argument is true. Apparently, we have to change that behavior, which a lot of us are not even doing, but we have to change that behavior, apparently. Why? Because women don't like it. I mean, what kind of logic? Where is the incentive for men to date you? I'm so confused. I'm genuinely confused. Now, I'm not against going to the gym. I'm not against, you know, for example, I don't think it's a good idea to look at spicy photos of women online and things like this. I think it's a good idea for men to get their finances up and move out of their parents' house and all of this sort of thing. I think these are all great ideas. But if your motivator for that is, well, women don't like it and you need to do it for us, I think maybe you need to reconsider your marketing strategy, because men are going to hear this. You know what dudes are going to do? They're going to hear this and go, man, maybe I should stop going to the gym. I don't want her. What is this? Maybe I should actually lay off the gym a bit if these are the kinds of women that are waiting at the end of the rainbow.
How many? Be honest. Don't lie, because I will call you out.
Ooh.
How many of you are getting drunk and high every weekend?
Ooh.
Partying it up, YOLO. Acting like there is no afterlife and judgment day. Because you will come to face God one day. It's not YOLO. How many of you are reading the Bible and actually doing what it says? Not pretending to be a Christian, man. A good...
I mean, are you're here screaming on TikTok. Like, what even is this, guys? Like, are women holding themselves to these standards? Certainly not, man. Certainly not. I'll say this, every time I go into a gym, by the way, it's 90% dudes. So immediately, as soon as your first endpoint makes your argument fall flat on its face, you go to any sort of average commercial gym, majority of it's dudes. And also, the dudes who do go there are trying harder than the women who do go there. Let's be honest about this, right? Women do not push themselves nearly as hard as men. But hey, we're not talking about that. All we're talking about is what the men need to do for the women. That's it. And again, I'm not even against any of the points that she's saying here. I think there's probably a lot of merit to those things and the things that she's saying. But again, why the hell should men do these things if your reasoning is they should do them for me, to benefit me? And also, women don't do the majority. On average, men are doing this stuff more than women are. Now, this spicy content thing is a little bit skewed. I assume more dudes are watching spicy content than women. But let's be honest, women have their own spicy content as well. You think all these books they're reading and all of these little things that they're viewing aren't spicy? Certainly not. Let's continue.
Christian man. Yeah, we know what you're up to. How many of you on your wish list is ass and tits? You want double D's, you don't care about morals. You don't want to deal with emotions. You want a robot. You want a sex robot. You'll be the first one in line for the robot girlfriend. That's you.
I mean, if you're the alternative, then probably a lot of men will take that, I assume, yes. Again, I don't think these women understand this. If you are the alternative to these things, of course men are going to go with the former.
How many of you are hiding behind a computer every day and playing video games for hours?
Bite of my steel.
I'm playing video games right now because it dilutes having to listen to you. I kid you not, guys. I am currently, I would switch my screen, but I don't want to, like, dox myself. I'm flying around, mining in World of Warcraft right now because it's so annoying to listen to these women. I have to think about something else because I don't want to actively give 100% of my focus to them. It's annoying, man. It's annoying. So, you know what? I'm guilty of that. And a lot of guys are guilty of playing video games. A lot of the time, dudes play video games to escape people like you. Let's be real about it. They don't want to interact with the reality because you're in it.
And you don't approach women.
Oh, no.
How many of you are gay and you've completely given up on women entirely, either because you hate women or you had a really traumatic experience where you were sexualized at a young age as a man? You're right. We don't need you.
Okay.
I never said that we don't want you. I never said to give up on love either. I still have hope, but will I take these red flags? No. I will walk away at the first red flag, and so will a lot of women.
No, first of all, no, you won't. Women are attracted to red flags. Let's be honest about it. I mean, you have a guy who's highly attractive. Ain't no woman walking away just because he demonstrates some red flags. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. There's something else she said a moment ago. Let me wind it back to refresh my memory.
There.
Oh, yeah, she said, get this, guys. So, she doesn't need you, and she doesn't want you, but she wants you to keep on trying. I mean, what's the explanation behind this, guys? Like, I'm sorry, but if it's such a big issue for you, then obviously you do care. Because if you didn't care and you don't need no man, then men doing their own thing wouldn't bother you so much. It wouldn't bother you that, you know, men aren't hitting the gym. It wouldn't bother you that men aren't trying to make a lot of money and they're just chilling. None of these things would bother you if you actually didn't need a man. But you do need a man, right? You need that retirement plan. You need a guy to have a relationship with. And so, of course, it bothers you when dudes aren't exactly following your plan.
I still have hope, but will I take these red flags? No. I will walk away at the first red flag, and so will a lot of women.
Ooh.
You have to do better.
No.
Stop blaming us. We're tired of the internet gurus talking about what women should be doing better. No! You're the leaders. You do better.
Yeah, you know what? I'll agree with this woman. I'm not interested in convincing these women to do better. Lord knows they won't listen to me. You think these women listen to people like me? Absolutely not. I could give women fantastic advice on how to get a boyfriend, how to get a husband, and so on. But they don't care. You know, like, they're not going to sit here and start taking notes and things like that. Right? And I'm not here to convince them to take notes. I'm not going to put myself through the mental anguish of trying to make somebody listen when they don't want to listen. I don't even think many people are trying to hold women accountable. There's probably a few podcasts, but again, the women don't care, man. Complete waste of time.
Grow up! And get ready to get called out. You want to leave a comment on my page? I don't need your support. I'm not doing this for likes.
Ooh.
I'm not doing this for money.
Ooh.
What the? Many men live with their parents because the economy doesn't allow them to move out at 18. Others because they are paying off loans and student debt. But if we don't consider that, there are more women living with their parents than men. Another thing is adult content, which, although I recommend men to quit, affects both women and men.
And just by the way, who do you think is putting out more and more of this content every single day? We won't talk about that, right? We won't talk about the women objectifying themselves. We won't talk about the women who are the ones who are not respecting themselves and things like this. Also, this woman brought up the point of, like, how men really care about how you look, right? Most men actually don't give a damn that much. As long as you don't eat, as long as you're not overweight, you can find a boyfriend. You really can. Don't be overweight. Don't be an awful person to be around like this woman is, and you are, like, most of the way there, essentially. Like, guys will still have relationships with you. It depends on the type of quality of person you are. And rule number one is just don't eat McDonald's. The reason why women say things like this is because they're trying to they're trying to lock down chads, right? They're trying to lock down the attractive men. And so the attractive men, a lot of them are not interested in having relationships. So what they'll do is, yeah, they'll trade you for the girl who's prettier. They'll trade you for the girl who they think looks better. And so it happens to these women over and over again because they're chasing these dudes. And they think that this is the behavior of all men when it certainly isn't. They're completely delusional.
As more than 30% of women currently consume it, and almost 80% of those who work in it are women. Secondly, you don't like an overweight, out-of-shape man. It's true that every man should take care of his body, but this double standard can't be applied to women as well, because no one desires a fat woman. But for this, we're labeled misogynists. Another thing is when a man does put in the effort and meets your list of requirements, what do you bring to the table? Because everyone wants a leader, but offers nothing in return. Don't tell me it's your presence worn down by the years that other men have already enjoyed. It's easy to complain about the loser man, but I assure you that a man who has it all can be with a woman who has nothing. However, a wealthy woman would not lower her standards to be with a man who has nothing, even if he's not overweight or lazy.
Of course not. This is why so many quote-unquote successful businesswomen, they have such issues when they're trying to date, is because they don't want to date a dude who makes less than them, especially long-term. For short-term things, right, when they're chasing the attractive guy, I mean, they don't particularly care. But when women are looking for relationships and long-term things, usually they want you to make more than they do. And if you don't, then they don't want a relationship with you. And that's just the way it is, guys. The more of a long-term relationship it is, then the more they care about your resources and the fact that you at least have to earn, or very, very well be capable of earning, more than them. And to be honest, like the latter, they just prefer you to make more than them, period.
So where is your so-called equality?
Oh, and by the way, we aren't asking for perfection. We're asking for literally the bare minimum. Could you try that? The bare minimum?
No thanks.
And you do need women, by the way. Men actually need women.
This woman is telling me so many things I didn't know, you know? Is that so? Is that so, madam? I think I'm pretty fine at the moment, just flying around playing some World of Warcraft. I think I'm alright, thank you.
Because, fact check, women birth life into this earth.
True.
We raised you. We raised all of you.
What, by yourself? You did this whole process by yourself? I'm just confused, guys, you know, how she grew the egg into a human being from nothing. And I'm also confused. Have women just been solo raising children this entire time? I mean, this woman, she should write a book with all of the things that I don't seem to know.
Men out here who want to disrespect and objectify us. So look at your mom, look at your sister, look at any women that you have in your family. When you're disrespecting women, you're disrespecting them too.
No, I'm just disrespecting you because you disrespect yourself. Guys, these women try and make it like an all women issue, right? I don't have any issue. Like, for example, let's just say you have a woman who doesn't objectify herself, and a woman who does. I mean, dudes are going to take the woman who respects herself and doesn't post spicy photos of herself online. This doesn't mean that men don't like all women, right? So if I sit here and I say, listen, I don't want to have a relationship with a woman, for example, who does spicy content. Does that mean that I don't like all women? That doesn't make any sense, man. It really doesn't. That's like women coming out here and saying, I don't like dudes who injure people, for example, or who are just angry all of the time. And then I sit here and I say, well, you must not like all men. Like, it just makes no sense.
And guess what? Keep it up. There won't be any women left to raise you and wipe your tears and take care of you. Because we're going to be so fed up and angry with men. You want to know why men get used by women? Well, first of all, we were property for thousands of years, so we literally weren't able to collect money or own anything up until the past century.
I mean, also, you didn't have to go out and fight in wars, so, I mean, we don't talk about that issue. Also, you were completely provided for and protected by men. But now, you're right, madam, you are liberated. You can go out there and you can work very hard, and you can struggle to pay your bills. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for the women, guys. This is what they fought for. You didn't want to be quote-unquote property. It was so hard back in the day, so have your liberation, and wouldn't you know it, it's completely screwed. But hey, at least you can go do whatever you want now. And again, guys, I have no problem with women working. The funny thing is, I just find it funny that they don't like the responsibility that comes along with that. Oh, I have to pay bills now. I have to look after myself. It's like crazy, crazy.
So now that we are trying to get money and establish ourselves, we're told by men that all you want is sex. So
I mean, you're probably told
that. Until the point where we just give up and say, okay, you want to use us? We'll use you right back. So yeah, no one is to blame other than you men.
Of course.
If you really feel that strongly about it, then stop supporting it. Stop going to strip clubs. Stop watching it. Stop listening to nasty, nasty content. Because it's disrespectful.
Can we ask the question just by the way? I mean, I agree with this woman. I think it's a bad idea. But are we going to ask the question? I mean, number one, women are consuming a lot of this content too. Let's not get it twisted. But number two, who's making the content? Who's in it? Who's supporting it? Who's saying that it's a great idea to get involved in? Who is saying that it's empowering? We're not going to have discussions about that, are we? No.
And men out here don't have empathy to raise children. So you guys really think you can do this without us? Go ahead, give it a try.
I have to keep pausing it because everything this woman says is completely stupid. Men actually do raise children better than women do solo. There's a lot of evidence to actually suggest that children turn out a lot better when they are raised by a single father as opposed to a single mother. So we actually have a lot of data to support that. Not really sure if that's the point you want to be making, but I don't think anything in this video really has to do with data or things that are to do with reality. So, I mean, she probably doesn't really care about that little tidbit, does she?
See, you want to see how bad stuff can really get? God said to have respect for women and to treat us as equals, as equal counterparts. We are your equal and opposite. But if you don't want to listen, then keep it up. You'll see how bad it gets. It can become hell on earth if you really wanted to. If that's where you want it to go.
Who does this woman think she is?
You will face God on Judgment Day.
Still recharging.
In the past, when couples got married, it was a man and a woman who both had to start from the bottom. The woman could work or not, but she contributed to helping the man in her own way. Nowadays, women want the winning man. They don't want to be the woman of the process. They want to be the woman waiting at the finish line for the man who has built himself up. When you judge me for not having tangible things, you are not being fair because a man needs to bring things to the table to be visible. It's often said that only children, animals, and women receive unconditional love. Men are loved for what they can provide. For over 100 years, men haven't changed what they want in a woman. Beauty, fertility, loyalty, and acts of service.
I mean, I don't think men have ever really changed what they preferred in women, to be honest with you. It probably hasn't changed in thousands of years, you know? I don't even think it's been like the last 100. I think men have probably been very consistent and also very obvious with the things that we are looking for out of women. Now, apparently those things are a little bit too difficult to muster these days. But hey, it's okay, guys, because remember, the women don't need us, apparently, so... I'm sorry, man. This video is just so funny to me. This woman might as well be a comedian. I don't think they realize that when they make videos like this, they're essentially advertisements for men to just keep doing what they're doing. You're not even... Like, all of this bad behavior, by the way, for example... going to script clubs and things like this, or playing too many video games, or whatever else she was rambling about. Dudes are actually more inclined to listen to this and then just do the complete opposite of whatever you say, just because you're completely unpleasant, right? Again, if the reward at the end of the rainbow is you, then dudes are probably going to do the opposite of what you say because they don't want to. women who stream on TikTok. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not a good, it's not quite the advertisement you think that it is, madam. Let me just say that.
On the other hand, what women claim to be the minimum is a man who has the 666 of the apocalypse and more. 6 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm surprised, by the way, that she didn't actually bring up height first. I would actually argue that's probably one of the, like, invisible requirements that women actually first look at. But of course, we don't mention that, right? We don't mention the height. We do mention a bit of the bank account, though. But usually what's first noticed is the height and the facial symmetry and so on. And then we start to look at the things like the bank account.
Earning more than $6,000 and having a physical appearance of at least a 6. By choosing this, almost 80% of men are eliminated. Add to that, after marrying her and having to support her, you also have to do household chores. Otherwise, you're an oppressive misogynist. So tell me how this is wanting the minimum when only 20% of men can qualify.
Was Jesus the first feminist? Hear me out on this one.
Oh boy.
Before Jesus came to the earth, women were basically slaves to men. We were concubines, so on and so forth. By the time Jesus had come to the earth, women were not allowed in synagogues. We were not allowed in any holy places or even allowed to hear anything about the word as it was, or practice it in any way. And when Jesus started preaching, women were actually afraid to listen to him. They were afraid of what their husbands would do, and they asked Jesus about this. They said, aren't men supposed to have authority, over us? And Jesus basically told them that they should be listening and to ignore their husbands and to listen to the word because he was going to protect them.
Now, guys, I'm not like a biblical expert or something like this, but this sounds like a very gross misconstruence, I guess you would call it, of the Bible. I'm going to assume. Somebody let me know down in the comments, okay? I'm not super familiar with how this stuff works, but this sounds like complete nonsense to me. My nonsense radar is going a little bit off right here. So apparently, the Bible says not to listen to men. I don't know about that one.
And he also told women to speak the word, to preach the word. And after Jesus left the earth, the church tried once again to erase women entirely from the Bible. They erased all of women's roles. They erased Jesus' actual life from the Bible. I mean, isn't that what the Bible's supposed to be about? Is Jesus at the end of this?
I think this woman is really trying to just thread this story where it just doesn't belong. So apparently what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make sense of the fact that apparently, guys, you can be a Christian woman and also a womanist at the same time. This is nonsense that I have seen many modern women try and do. Is like, yeah, I'm strong and independent. I'm a womanist. Equal this, equal that. But also, I'm a Christian woman. It's like, I don't know about that one, man. I feel like you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, right there. I think these two things are contradictory, to be honest.
And yeah, they just tried to completely diminish women's role and still keep us out of the church and out of any position of authority. Now, I get that people associate the word feminist with like the liberal green hair, this and that. That's not what feminism is.
I mean, I would also associate it with people like you, and it seems fairly accurate.
Feminism, in its definition, is that women equality. Are equal to men, which is what God says, that all of his children are equals. It doesn't.
Yeah, guys, womanism is all about equality. Oh yeah, for sure.
Doesn't mean that we can do everything that you guys can do. It doesn't mean that we're as strong and as powerful as you. But God did not give you your strength and authority to abuse and exploit women.
Nobody said that.
And I believe that when Jesus comes back to this earth, he will rightfully set women back in our place as equals. And that is the only way we will ever have harmony on this earth, is when women are treated as equals in a society and respected and honored and loved. If that happened,
Not yet.
it would completely change our society. What do you guys
So
think?
real, Queen. So real.
And now I understand when Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they are doing." When you use the Bible for
roasted.
your narrative, it's not right because the Bible speaks of the traditional woman, not the liberal one. Here are some verses. An excellent
Ooh.
wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head and savior of the church, which is his body.
Still recharging.
And there it is, right? What did I tell you guys? I think this woman's just making up absolute nonsense. Don't listen to men. You know, I don't need no man. But at the same time, I'm also a Christian woman. I mean, get the hell out of here, man. Get the hell... This is like a scam. I've noticed a lot more modern women are trying to do this, right? Is because they're trying to look for more traditional guys. What they're doing is they're like adopting this fake Christian persona, and they're going into these spaces because they're looking for a guy who's generous, a guy who's caring, a guy who's by extension religious as well. And so they go to these environments because they're looking to for someone to manipulate, and who perhaps doesn't know any better. I think it's kind of like women going to